Happy International Coffee Day. So, I don't drink coffee. Don't stop listening. I'm still cool, I promise. Welcome back, it's Hafsa Slayman and you're listening to Confessions of a Doctorholic. And I don't want to put yous off, but coffee is just so weird. So the first and last time I've had coffee was when I was 17. Oh, actually there was a time after that, never mind. But the first time I've had coffee was when I was 17. And the reason why I had it was because one of my friends was like, you're going to go to uni, you're going to have to pull all-nighters to finish assignments and wake up, so you might as well try it. So we were at Starbucks and she ordered a cappuccino, and because that's her favorite apparently. And she put in some sugar because she was like, oh, it's quite bitter for people who've never had coffee. And there I was, super excited, thinking it's like something phenomenal. And the reason why I thought it was something phenomenal was because everyone wears these shirts that have some cool coffee statements on it. You know, that says but first, coffee. I don't know, it's like if I ever were to drink coffee as something that I'm passionate about, it's probably only going to be so that I can buy one of those shirts and wear it and actually mean it. Anyway, it was the absolute nastiest thing I've had my entire life. It was so bitter and I hated it, and I'm just never going to have coffee again. Now, the other time that I've had coffee was actually a dare last year. So I was at a Thanks Christmas party, and basically that's Thanksgiving mixed with Christmas. And we had to play Secret Santa, or was it Dirty Santa? One of those games, right? Or White Elephant. I think it was White Elephant. Anyway, we had to play a game, and basically we were stealing presents, and someone stole it from me, and I was dared to do something. And they picked drinking coffee because I absolutely hate coffee. So I had a sip, and oh my God, it was absolutely nasty once again, and never again. Anyway, I've got a really cool story for you. So, a 21-year-old uni student presented to the hospital. In an ambo, he was agitated, confused, sweating, hyperventilating, and he had wide pupils. So, because he's 21 years old and he's a university student, alcohol was on our list as one of the differential diagnoses. So basically, one of the things that we reckon happened to him. The only problem, though, was that alcohol is a depressant, so you wouldn't really get the wide pupils. So then we were like, okay, this is a sign of a stimulant, so could he be doing other drugs? You know, it's not super uncommon amongst teenagers and amongst uni students. So they did a drug panel, and that was negative. So we were all like, oh my God, okay, so what happened? And to make matters worse was that he had a really high body temperature because of whatever he's taken. And because of that, the body goes into a fight or flight response to try to calm him down. So adrenaline's released, and it just makes the whole thing worse. In the ambo, he came with his mum. So they spoke to his mum to take a collateral history. So apparently it's been exam period for the student, and he had a really tough exam. He was worried that he wasn't going to do well and he wouldn't be able to pursue his future career plans. So he decided, okay, I'm going to pull an all-nighter so that I can just stay up, smash this out, and then I'm just going to do well in the exam tomorrow. So the way he decided to go about it is by drinking coffee. So he drank a cup of coffee and he felt alert. And then a few minutes later, he ended up having a down period where he felt kind of tired and he wanted to go to bed. So he kept drinking more coffee to be alert again. So he kept doing this entire cycle of feeling alert, and then when he ends up having a low, he drinks more coffee, to the point where he ended up drinking 2 gallons of coffee in 3 hours. I'm not a coffee drinker, and I reckon that's heaps. The caffeine recommendation is no more than 400 milligrams per day, and that's like having 4 cups of regular coffee. So if he had 2 gallons, that's just heaps more. So after that, he felt his heart pounding in his neck and behind his eyes. He felt like he could run for miles. He was knotted on the inside. He was sweating everywhere. His calf muscle was hurting and his urine turned brown. And ladies and gentlemen, that is not coffee. That's him peeing blood with denatured protein. As in, like, the protein in his body just went bad because of the high temperature. And there was an electrolyte imbalance, so he had too little potassium, so his muscles wouldn't stop contracting. Anyway, there was a thump, and his mum heard that. She went upstairs to the toilet, and she saw him mid-seizure. And he was, like, laying down mid-seizure. Apart from this is what caffeine does. So 1 cup can actually keep you awake, but once you start tolerating it, you start experiencing headache. So for those of you who are regular caffeine/coffee drinkers, you must have noticed, like in the morning, first thing in the morning, if you're used to having a coffee first thing in the morning, you notice that you've got a headache and you can't really start your day without it. So that's what caffeine can do to you. It also constricts blood vessels in the brain. It blocks 2 types of neurotransmitters, GABA and adenosine. So basically it affects some of the pathways in your body, and this means that your brain doesn't stop getting excited. And moving back to the case, in the hospital, we don't usually routinely do a caffeine test. I mean, everyone drinks coffee. It's going to be positive, you know? And also, drugs and alcohol seem to be the more common thing that they screen for, so it's just not routinely done. And it takes about 3 to 10 hours for caffeine to halve in the blood. So during this entire time, it's just like floating around your body, continually causing damage to your heart, to your kidneys, and possibly even permanent damage. And here's the thing that baffles me. So many people drink coffee going like, oh my God, this is going to increase my performance. This is going to keep me up for longer. This is going to help me push through. So the ability to manage your emotions and remain calm under pressure is linked to your performance. And there are studies that suggested that caffeine can possibly improve your cognitive performance in a short period of time. But then they did this research in Johns Hopkins University just to confirm if this was true or not. And apparently, this caffeine-related performance enhancement does not exist unless you've got caffeine withdrawal. Because when you have caffeine withdrawal, you're distracted by the pain and the headaches that you can't function. And it also affects your sleep. And here's the other thing that baffled me. There's actually so many people around the world that don't drink coffee. So I'm not like one in a million. Blake Lively, who I'm like such a huge fan of because she's like hot as, she's just like me. J-Lo's the same. She won't drink coffee. So like, who doesn't want to be J-Lo, right? That's like one of my future, I wouldn't say a career plan, but that's like always been a goal. Like everyone wants to be J-Lo when they grow older. They don't drink coffee. And there's so many other celebrities that don't drink coffee. So, yeah, I mean, I guess if it makes you guys feel better, I don't drink tea either. Okay, so before you completely hate me and decide never to listen to me again, I found out something really interesting. So apparently there's this coffee company in upstate New York that has the world's strongest coffee. And it has 200% more caffeine than your normal cup of coffee. It's called Death Wish. Now, I don't know about yous, but if I saw something on the menu that said Death Wish, I'd probably not order that because I feel like that's a recipe for a disaster. But I mean, this is a no judgment zone, and to each their own. I suppose in a way, if someone said Death by Chocolate cake, if that was like the name of the cake, Death by Chocolate, I'd probably order that. So this coffee, Death Wish, is being sold at $19.99, so essentially $20 per 1 pound bag, and it's got a 60-day refund guarantee. So if this hasn't been the strongest coffee you've ever tasted, they can refund your money. And the reason why they've achieved this is because they've used a different type of coffee bean. So usually they use the maximum flavored Arabica beans. But this type of coffee, Death Wish, comes from Robusta beans. And I don't know what plant that comes from. I don't know what it looks like, if I'm being completely honest with you. But apparently it has a much harsher taste. because it contains more caffeine. Now, I don't know if you really want to drink that. I personally am like super freaked out by that story about the kid. But you know what? If it's going to help you, might as well get a shirt with it. That's the only reason why I drink coffee. So just buy it and get a shirt with it. So I was recording this episode and I found out the wildest thing. So one of my friends actually tried this coffee. I still am completely baffled by why she tried a coffee that's called Death Wish. But apparently it was a thing in New York, so everyone went and tried it. So I asked her for the deets, obviously, and apparently it's not bitter, so it's not like super bitter, but it's like a strong, regular black coffee. But it's like also slightly more acidic. And for those of you who are fans of Starbucks, it's stronger than a Starbucks double roast coffee. I've never heard of this, but for those of you who haven't tried Death Wish, this is what you can expect. And apparently she was wired for 12 hours. So if you want to try it and have a good night's sleep afterwards, you want to try it early in the morning, and you get all the other things with coffee. So like fast heart rate, alert, peeing heaps. So all of those other things don't change, but that's wild.